Good morning, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review morning briefing. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of July. It is game day. Rangers season officially gets underway tonight at Ibrox against Panathinaikos in the Champions League second round qualifier. First leg, Joshua joins me to look ahead to that game. How's it going, Joshua?
It's going fine, mate. Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest. Judging by kind of social media and chats with various people, I think there's a real element of unknown tonight. Yeah, but that's quite refreshing compared to the past couple of years. So yeah, looking forward to it. What about you?
Yeah, I think BK sums it up really well. He says nervous and excited. I think it's a mixture of that. And yeah, certainly stepping into the unknown because we haven't really seen much of Rangers during pre-season. We will see just what Russell Martin is looking to try to do tonight when Panathinaikos and Rangers take to the field.
Nice near you.
It is, yeah. The sun's just splitting the clouds there, so I've had to roll down the blind a little bit there. But yeah, very much looking forward to tonight, and we'll delve into that, what team we can expect to start the game. We'll play you what Russell Martin had to say yesterday as well in his press conference. Before we do that, a quick word for our podcast sponsors, Willows Fencing, the great guys at the Glasgow-based fencing company you can trust, folks, and proud partners of the Rangers Review. They're offering free consultations, whether that's a small-scale refurbishment or a large-scale complete fencing project. And you also get 10% off with the code Rangers Review over on their website, willows-fencing.com. Right, where shall we start then? Well, the press conference yesterday, Joshua, Russell Martin and James Tavernier were up speaking to ourselves and the rest of the media about the game. He gave us an update on the squad situation, who's fit and who will be missing the game. Tello Asgard, of course, as we reported last week, picked up that knock against Dunfermline, and he won't feature tonight. I'm right in thinking that he'll miss the first leg, certainly, but he is part of the 25-man squad. Gassama, of course, not fit enough to start. Same applies to Hamza Egeman and Cyril Dessers, which, we were talking about that at length last week, weren't we, about who is going to lead the line and the options that Martin has at his disposal at this point in time. What do you make of his press conference to begin with and what he had to say yesterday?
Yeah, it's so hard to answer that question without saying he spoke well, Derek. I'll rephrase it. He's a good communicator. Who knows? Yes. Until you get into tonight, I thought Stevie's got a column on the website today, which I think sums it up very well. There is general reason that people will be optimistic going to Ibrox tonight, and understandably so, because I wrote it in a piece yesterday as well. The last 2 summers, the kind of optimism going into the new season has more been based on hope, blind hope and faith. What the manager has said more than anything else, right? Now you do have new ownership. You do have it. This is actually a restart. And that word has been used far too often in recent years. I think there is, as we've discussed a lot over pre-season, a lot of evidence to show that with time and with investment, this style of play can work. You know, you and Johnny, it was fantastic to see you and Johnny getting the graphs out when I wasn't even here.
Do you appreciate that?
Yeah, I did appreciate that. Just shows how much I watch the Rangers Review in my downtime. There is evidence to show, I think, that Rangers need something like this. They need a head coach model to teach the players how to play, something that consistently game model, recruit to it. All that type of stuff is true. And Martin does communicate well and I think paints a certain picture that fans like. And when he was speaking yesterday about it's not season defining, but fans need to see something to be excited about, I thought that was a pretty good way of lowering but also raising expectations. However, on the other side of things, he's had, as of today, I think, is it the 23rd today or the 22nd?
22nd today.
22nd. He's had under a month with this group. He's had less than a month with a lot of members of this group. There's only going to be 6 new arrivals in the squad tonight, and probably only 4 or 5 maximum in the starting 11 with no Tello Asgard available tonight. And the backdrop is Rangers have had to invest quite early because of the state of their squad, but they have 7 or 8 players who are surplus to requirements, who have been told they can leave the club, and moving them on is going to be difficult. And again, yesterday I heard Martin say, I'm convinced the squad will be very different in a month's time. Is that applying a little bit of pressure? So there's just so much surrounding it that could make it go away. But I think there's reason for optimism because, as I say there, it's not just about the manager this season, even though Rangers are backing him quite heavily in the transfer market, I'd argue. There is a takeover which paints to a wider change that obviously hasn't been the case the last couple of seasons. What do you think? How do you take the temperature?
I think I don't know, to be honest. It's a weird one. I've said it before. I would like Rangers to have gone into this game better prepared, and what I mean by that is playing more matches, pre-season games. I'm not including, I know bounce games that serve a purpose, but I would like to have at least played it, maybe one more game at Ibrox. I know they've got Middlesbrough sandwiched in between these two games. It'd be intriguing to see that sort of personnel that feature in that match. I know that Russell Martin says it's, I think Jedi Gassama will get at least 45 minutes in that game to get him up to speed for the second leg. But ideally you want at least, I would have wanted at least another 2 pre-season friendlies before this fixture was taking place in front of fans. But it is what it is.
I think the issue has also been the pitch, which Martin's discussed a little bit, but the pitch basically just hasn't been, because it's so early, this Panathinaikos game, the pitch hasn't been ready. So they've had to almost do these. And they've had Dunfermline, was it Hamilton at the weekend? Can't remember. Who else have they had? Barnsley.
TNS.
And one more game. So I think they have had a lot of games. But you're right in that it's a different. Bruges has been the only sort of evidence of what this looks like in front of a crowd. How do they play under pressure to an extent? So maybe not the most ideal preparations to start a season, but you've only got a month to do it.
Yeah, Stray Cat says the element of surprise, Derek. It is very much so today. We've got a couple of Russell Martin clips. An interesting point, one of the headline grabbers yesterday, Joshua, was the fact he says tonight, this double header is not going to be season defining, so we're going to play what he had to say.
Defining game first.
It's not going to be a season defining game. It's not. So it's a really, really big game. But the season's a long season. We'll be defined by what we do between now and May. So you can build it up to be that. It's a big game. Every game for Rangers is a big game. Every game is a must-win at Rangers. But it's not season defining. The squad will look very different in 4 or 5 weeks. I'm convinced of that. But the team we have now, the squad we have now, we have to put in a performance that looks like us, feels like us, and one that we can build off and ultimately win the game.
He's right in saying that, Josh. I remember just off the back of Manchester back in 2008, Rangers went to play Connacht and got beat by them. And that wasn't season defined because Rangers went on and won the double, I think, that season with Walter at the helm. So he's bang on with that. But it certainly would help matters if they can get past this round. There's no doubt about that. But I can certainly get his point there. If Rangers lose this match, it's not sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's going to be a disastrous campaign.
No, of course it's not. But also, it's all hypotheticals. If they were to lose this tie, obviously it makes it much more difficult for getting into the Europa League. Whereas we saw if they win this tie, getting into the playoff round of the Champions League actually looks pretty doable. It's an easier tie, you'd argue, than it reminds Servette or Victoria Pilsen.
Yeah,
that's an easier draw. Is it probably an easier draw than Panathinaikos? I think so. So you've got a pretty good route to the playoff, and obviously the big focus, I don't think so much is even making the Champions League this year. Arguably, Rangers aren't ready for that as much as I'm sure they'd take it and would take the financial benefits of it and whatnot. But it's getting the extra 5 million or close to 5 million. I think it's 4.5 million at the end of the transfer window. Compare that to dropping in unseeded in the Europa League. You know, there's a much easier path there. But it's not going to define their season.
Yeah.
But first, again, I'm stealing lines from Stevie Clifford's column. But you only get one chance at a first impression. And I think if tonight, I always thought when this draw came out, is it a negative that Rangers are home second and they don't have the opportunity to bring the game back to Ibrox? But maybe it actually will allow them an opportunity to set the tone in the double header, get themselves in front and put in a really high energy, aggressive attacking performance. That's what Martin kept coming back to in the press conference, the type of football he wants to see. He said in another answer, I think we have a clip from it, that the only time the team will get criticism is when they don't work hard enough or when they're not brave enough. And that's another subplot tonight, because it's a number of players here. I think Kieran Dowell probably starts tonight, for example. You've got others. James Tavernier's got a lot of experience in European nights. John Souttar, Jack Butland. How does he do in this first real test being a Rangers goalkeeper? Because Rangers are still active, looking at goalkeepers and looking at goalkeepers for different situations. I believe they are looking at goalkeepers dependent on whether Butland stays or not, which is where that noise around Pierce Charles comes into the conversation, the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper. So lots of tests for these guys. And when Martin says the squad will look very different in 4 to 5 weeks' time, I think you'll have an idea of who he wants to keep, who he wants to build around. You still need a spine to this squad. There's probably also an argument that for a few of these players, if they can show them in high pressure environments that they can do it, maybe they still have an opportunity to turn around what felt like an inevitable departure at the start of the summer.
Yeah, well, let's play that clip from Martin talking about his philosophy, his beliefs and that sort of thing. Here he goes.
Trust the work they've done, so they have to trust each other, they have to trust the work that we've given them, and to do that, whatever the situation is, even if we're having a tough moment in the game, even if we're well on top and we're having a good time, they have to trust the work and stick to the work. Otherwise, it's pointless. So I think we have a really clear framework to work in. There are some non-negotiables and principles of our play that will remain the same whatever the situation, and then they have to feel things, and tomorrow night they'll feel it for the first time properly. So they will hopefully, as much as they possibly can, help each other on the pitch, and we'll help them as much as we can from the side. It's not always easy, but we will. And then they just have to trust that we will support them through it. As long as the intention of the team is good, we can always accept when mistakes are made or whatever, but the reaction has to be good and the intention has to be good. So they'll never get criticised if the intention is good and to be us. The only problem we'll ever have if they're not brave enough or willing to run enough, and I don't think that'll be a problem.
Yep, no real issue with that. I think we will see a fit Rangers team. That thing about not being criticised by the management staff. If we see a hospital pass like we've seen, what was it, the training game against Barnsley, I don't think the fans will be too sympathetic if they see that going on and getting intercepted and things being punished. So it will be intriguing. That's for sure on that. Just wanted to touch on that draw that you mentioned there, Joshua. Of course, if Rangers do make it past Panathinaikos, that third round fixtures taking place August the 5th and 6th, and then August the 12th. Now, should they depart in this round, they would get the winner of either Shakhtar Donetsk against Besiktas, Anderlecht against Haken, or Sheriff Tiraspol against Utrecht. In fact, if that was drawn as well, wasn't it? They could, was it yesterday? They could the Europa League draw, or is that still?
I think it's still to be narrowed down. I think it's still to be narrowed down because of it starts at an earlier round. But those names make me a little bit more apprehensive than the potential Champions League draw, and obviously because you wouldn't be seeded. I mean, what was the first name, Shakhtar or Besiktas? I think going away to Besiktas would be tricky, and that's to get into the Europa League. So there's a lot riding on this game tonight. And as you say there, introduced it delicately as philosophy, beliefs, and stuff like that. I'm intrigued to see how the Ibrox reacts to that, because I think the style of play is such a buzzword. We speak about it all the time. Johnny and I have been arguing in the office all the time about is this going to work, why it's not going to work, and we'll maybe save that for a podcast.
Well, we're getting them on later, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome of the game and his views on it. Always interesting what his opinions are, Johnny. But
he's always recording a podcast. That's the thing. He's always in some non-literal sense. But I divert. I'm just intrigued to see if there's moments where if Panathinaikos come and press really aggressively, what Martin's speaking about there, being brave, and going back to that training session we watched, Derek, that was the biggest takeaway, was how much composure he wants on the ball, the detail he demands in every pass, slowing things down when the ball goes forward too quickly. But for this Rangers squad, they've played a certain way in Europe, which is probably play over the press quite directly, be quite a direct team. And you heard James Tavernier say it yesterday, I'm paraphrasing, but he effectively said, I've never played this style at Rangers. And that, I think, tells you, when he said, I can't remember the exact quote, Derek, but he said something like, you'll see a big difference this season. Maybe not in terms of the output he was referring to, but the input of what Rangers are trying to do. And that's someone who's played under 5, 6, 7 managers at the club.
I think.
Yeah, I think so. First opportunity for the Ibrox crowd to see that tonight. There's misconceptions, I think, of Martin's style. It's not, again, Joe Rothwell spoke about this, it's not passing for passing's sake, but he wants to always be in control of the ball. And how does that translate in a European game? How does it depend on the opposition? Yeah, so many intriguing subplots. I still think that Rangers Thursdays or Wednesdays might suffer a bit, but the Saturdays will get better in the short term, and people would take that trade-off, but you've obviously got to get through. You've got to get into European group stage, and this is the first season in a long time where Rangers actually have to qualify just to play group stage in general, even if it is down to the Conference League, which I don't think it will be, for the record, but you never know.
Tav says, I think you'll see in the way we play with the ball and without the ball, I think that will be evident when tomorrow unfolds, and as this season unfolds, you'll certainly see a different style of play that I've probably not played since I've been here. So there you go. Hopefully we can see some of that in effect tonight, and hopefully Rangers can go and achieve a positive result against Panathinaikos, who, let's be honest, a big name in European football, but certainly having spoken to a Panathinaikos fan at tail end of last week over the weekend, they're not in great shape, Joshua, by any matter of means. There's a bit of unrest with their ownership, and they're not world beaters, put it that way. So I don't think it's a match that could be beyond Rangers. I think Johnny, when we were on Friday, put it as a sort of 50-50 game. But it's not a match that, you touched on there, some of the experienced campaigners in that squad. They won't be overawed by Panathinaikos or even going over there next week.
No, and that's the positive side to, we're speaking about, is there scar tissue in the squad, and I think as each week goes on, Rangers have still done quite a lot of business. It's only a week since they signed their last player. They've signed 7 players by middle of July, and quite a lot of investment. It's not as if it's just been free transfers or maybe players that aren't priorities. But as each day and week goes on, the fact that they have players who are training away from the first team squad, who they're trying to get out the door, the fact that they have a number who they want to try and move on, that is a concern, because there's a lot of wage. Even if you just think of Proper, Davies, Matondo, Ridvan, Leon King, that's a lot of wages. I know King and Robbie Fraser are in the squad, the European squad, and there's a brilliant explainer from Scotland's Coefficient on the website if people want to understand more about the specifics of how you name a UEFA squad. But yeah, as each day and week goes on, I think that the importance of getting players out the door just heightens, especially when you're backing a manager pretty heavily. But you've got the likes of Diamande and Raskin in midfield. They're not going to be overawed about tonight. Danilo, big opportunity for him, scored a lot in pre-season, has been very impressive by all accounts in these games we've not been able to see. James Tavernier's one of the most experienced players in Europe in the club's history. The list could go on and on. But equally, you have a lot of players like Max Aarons or Nasser Giga played 8 games for Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League last season. I don't think he'll be too overawed about it. Yeah, we just got to wait and see. But let's get into the teams, because I'm intrigued to see you in front 3.
Well, we'll start with yours. So this is the team. This is your Rangers 11, Joshua. So you've got Butland in there, Tavernier, Giga, Suter, and Aarons at the back. Rothwell in the 6th position, Raskin, Diamande, and Curtis, which is an interesting one with Dowell up there with Danilo leading the line. Of course, we touched on earlier in the show, Gassama not fit enough to start. He would be in my starting 11 if he was fit enough to start. But explain your reasoning behind that. Certainly, I think the back four, we touched on the back four last week, almost picks itself a wee bit at the moment. Left back, it's clear Russell Martin. I don't think he's happy with the options that were there when he came in. I certainly don't want to see that long term. And nothing against James Tavernier and Max Aarons. Max Aarons was brought in as a right back. He's effectively been played out of position if Russell Martin goes with this, of course. But talk us through your team, Joshua.
Explain yourself. Well, I would just say, as the new season starts, a reminder to our viewers who we really appreciate. These are predicted teams because we always think, is this the teams we want to see or is it predicted? So, our executive decision, it's predicted. It's what we think it will be. The only thing I'd add to that is that I'd imagine it'll be Raskin in the left, number 8 position, Diomande on the right, and if you had one player who's not there, Derek, who I think could start, it's Nadim Bayrami, who again is impressed in pre-season, probably has the ability to play in the front three, but Finlay Curtis is someone that Martin's spoken a lot about. Dowell, I think, starts just by default because you'll want a left footer out there. There's not many other options. You'll probably favour a bit of experience and expertise. If it was me, I'd likely go with Curtis and Cortez, or maybe Curtis on the right and Bayrami off the left, although I don't think Bayrami's at his best in one of those number 8 positions, not in the front three. The back four, I'd be surprised if it's anything other than that. Max Aarons, although he's not a left back, will play inside the pitch quite a lot. You'll see James Tavernier do that too. Said for a while that I anticipate Rothwell will be the number 6. That again opens up conversations about Nico Raskin, because I think that's a better position for him than as a number 8. And the centre-back partnership, Nasser Giga's coming to play football, and he's a right-sided centre-back. I think he'll play there ahead of Suter this season, but Rangers are still looking at centre-back as a position. There's still hopes that Conor Cody could come to the club, but that's complicated by the new Leicester boss wanting to look at him. Rangers wanted him last season, and it was a pretty similar situation. So, that's what I'm predicting tonight, and everyone can shout at us in the pre-match show if we get it wildly wrong. How have you differed?
Well, first of all, this comment caught my eye. Christmas says, going from Hamza, Dessers and Czerny to Curtis, Danilo and Dowell is extremely worrying. So he is not too enamoured by your front line, Joshua. This is who I think would be the best, certainly, option. I've got the same pretty much middle back line to midfield. Just changing in the wide area. You touched on Bayrami. I think he has impressed in pre-season. I think I would rather him than Kieran Dowell out there, just given on previous performances in Rangers colours. I get that Dowell has impressed Russell Martin. I would not be surprised to see him start. But for me, I think Bayrami would just edge it. Cortez, I seen a comment earlier on in the show saying if he doesn't get a chance now, then whenever. This is why he was brought to the club, these sort of games. He can play both flanks, of course, interchangeable. As can Bayrami. Bayrami's played over on that left-hand side as well. So, I think it would be, I think we're going to be near enough bang on with the lineup. I can't see any other major surprise coming in. Can you?
Just on Cortez, I understand that comment, and I think it is right to a degree, but also, while he's had a full pre-season behind him, I just wonder how much value Russell Martin will put on the fact that he's not played a full 90 minutes for Rangers basically ever. And is he just in a similar situation as Finlay Curtis, where yes, they've invested heavily in him, but do they want to bed him in and give him minutes first? I don't know on that situation. We know he's come back early, very fit for pre-season. But I just wonder where I don't get the feeling he'll be thrown in tonight. I don't know exactly why. And if Bayrami were to play, I'd rather see him in one of the number 8 positions, or on the left and the right hand side. The reason I think it could be Dowell is just because of how Martin wants to play, and that his fullbacks are going to be inside the pitch more. He wants different angles in the wide positions, which probably means you want a left footer out there. And I think it was Chris's point a second ago. He was saying that front three is extremely worrying. This is why Rangers chased Kwame Poku for a long time, because he was that left-footed option out there. Ray Saki is a target that they've also had for a while, and as we understand, they're still trying to work a situation to potentially bring him to Ibrox if they can from Crystal Palace, but price is a limiting factor there, because they're also looking at left back and other positions too. So just so many spinning plates. But the front three is undercooked at the moment, no doubt about it. This is a big chance for Danilo. He's not had a pre-season.
Absolutely is. Yep.
He's not had any luck. This kind of momentum that he's built up in pre-season, it's felt like he's never had that since he came to the club. But he's done well in pre-season. He's probably, you'd expect, the fittest he's been since he came to the club, and he's who you'll look to in the front three tonight. Without Gers, without Egeman, without real certainties in the wing, he'll have a big role to, I think, get Rangers up the pitch and link play, as will Diomande and Raskin, presuming they're in those number 8 positions. But maybe you could see a midfield three of Rothwell, Diomande, and Bayrami, if you need then more of an attacking edge from midfield, perhaps, if you've not got as much in the front three. I think that's a possibility too.
Yeah.
If there's any, if people throw in the comments anyone else they think could potentially start, because I can't think off the top of my head, it would be interesting to hear that, because it doesn't feel like there's an abundance of options outside of the two teams we've put in there, unless we're forgetting someone.
No. I'm just scrolling just now. I can't see any names that sort of catch the eye just now. Just interestingly, Martin was asked about Danilo in the press conference yesterday. I think he said that I think when you miss pre-season at any age, it's really difficult. You're playing catch-up then for a long period, so he's been great. I really enjoy working with him. He doubles up as a translator. He speaks about 5 languages, and he's technically really good. He scored some really nice goals in pre-season. He links the game well, and what I love about him is he gives everything in every season, absolutely everything he's got, and wants to learn. He helps a lot with other players as well, so he's been great, and I hope he can take that form from pre-season into the season. So there you go. That's what Russell Martin had to say about Danilo. Speaks 5 languages. That puts me and many others to shame. I was trying actually in the last year to learn another language. I was trying to learn a bit of Portuguese, but it's an absolute nightmare. Never really stuck in at French at school. Do you know any other languages, Joshua?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think if I'm even close with any, but no, I'm not. But you're right. I'm ashamed at that too. I will endeavor. I'll download Duolingo today and try and start the journey.
Yeah,
Danilo, what was it? Brazilian, Portuguese, Dutch, English. Don't know what else he speaks outside of that. But he's always been, he's a popular member of the squad. Just has had absolutely no luck. You think back to the facial injury he got against St Johnstone, the fact that he actually didn't start many games when he first arrived, and Michael Beale spoke about that at the time. The knee injury he had, the shoulder injury, and that's the question: is he durable enough? Long term, he demonstrated durability. I think if you could get Danilo and Dessers and Egeman all fit, that's a pretty good trio of striking options for the. But then that's with a caveat. Can that happen? Are all 3 going to stay? But it's a nice blend of skill sets, I think. And Danilo, what he does when he comes into the team, and this is why I think Martin will like him too, is that I think he makes a team better, because unlike Dessers, he gives you a passing option. He can link well with players. I think he's a really intelligent footballer, which is why you saw him play as like a number 10 at points under Clement. And while sometimes his finishing, I don't even think it's erratic. I think it can be almost a bit weak at points in the past. He's maybe that's just the fact that he's hardly ever played games consecutively. But for me, he normally makes the team play better, but you'll need the runners in behind him. Again, that's something that you saw in the pre-season training camp we were watching, the importance of those wingers staying high and wide. And as one moves to the ball, the other's going in the opposite direction. The question is, as we are disagreeing about who plays in those 2 wide positions.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. Just on speaking another language, I love this. Jim says, Vino Branco Rapido. That's all you need to know in Portuguese, Derek. I'll keep that in mind, Jim. Ross says, once you start Duolingo, you can't stop because of their streak system. You'll both be hooked. I had another app, faded off a little bit, but I'll have a look at that, Ross. Thank you for that recommendation. We'll wrap up with this. We touched on him a little earlier on, but Paul says, Derek, do you think Asgard could make the bench? Well, Russell Martin did say his only injury concern will keep monitoring him. So they are working extremely hard to get him back as quickly as possible. But I don't think they'll be taking any risks, especially with one eye on next week as well, Joshua. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and I think, as we said last week, it wasn't deemed to be serious. And there's always a fear, I think, in a preseason game when a player goes off, but it wasn't deemed serious at the time. And
yeah,
he's will be back next week, all going well. But he'd have probably played in the front three. We saw that again at points in preseason. So I think if you look at the midfield, it would have made more sense to have a Raskin or a Bayrami in there and push Asgard into the front three. He'd give you a goal threat off the left. I thought it was interesting, the comments that Martin made over the weekend, where he spoke, I don't know if you saw them on Rangers TV, he spoke glowingly about him. He said something like, he's all we thought we were getting and more, and really was extremely complimentary of his new midfielders. So it'll be a blow to him to not have him in the front three, because while he's a midfielder, he gives you a bit of a ball carrying threat and someone who can chop inside and take a shot as well. But yeah, would anticipate he should be back for next week, and then before you know it, it's Motherwell away on that Saturday night, isn't it? And the real stuff begins.
Yes, for sure. Right, we'll wrap up there for now, but we will be back later on, folks, for your usual match coverage, pre-match show as ever, and then we'll be live on, should be on, maybe on the whistle tonight. Joshua will be on to give our thoughts on the reaction to what unfolds at Ibrox. A lot of you asking as well, loads of you have been asking, is a match on TV? Is a match on TV? Over the week, I think Friday it was confirmed, or certainly over the weekend, Premier Sports are showing the game. So that will be available to you also on Rangers TV, of course, as well. 7:45 is at the kickoff time. So yeah, I wonder what the crowd will be like tonight as well. The crowd often play a pivotal role in these European nights, so they will have their part to play as well. So yeah, an interesting one ahead. You're back on the pre-match, Joshua, or are we getting Chris? Chris will be there tonight as well, won't he?
Chris will be there. It'll be one of it's myself, yourself, and Johnny post-match. So I am looking forward to that, regardless of the result. I'm sure if Rangers lose, Johnny will hold me personally accountable for the approach. But yeah, we'll have full coverage as ever. We'll be trying out some new match day coverage as well as the season goes on a little bit. So if people can subscribe, a lot of people don't subscribe on YouTube, Derek, and that really helps us. So please, if you enjoy our content, subscribe on YouTube. We've got loads more to come this season, loads more shows, and of course the websites where you can get everything you need Rangers review wise. And my last plug, Derek, the app. We have a free app that we need to tell more people about. So on my Twitter page, we'll link it on the show going forward too. But if you want to get all your Rangers review content in one place, you can watch the morning briefing there. You can watch other videos there, read all our tactical content, transfer news, press conference transcripts, whatever it may be. The free app is the best place for that. So if you've not got it ahead of the new season, what are you waiting for? There we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Go and get it downloaded, folks. Right, enjoy your morning/afternoon, and we'll speak to you again this evening. We'll be live around about when the teams usually drop, about
half past 6.
Yeah, we'll be live about 6:30, folks. So join us for that. And yeah, we'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.